Um, so this board consists of up to 7 members of the town of Rockport appointed by the select board to review land use applications, changes to zoning, and conduct other duties prescribed in the ordinance of the town and laws of the state. So we do have a quorum tonight. So we can start this meeting at 5:34. Have an agenda. Does anyone request to adjust the agenda? There was one adjustment that Orion pointed out just prior to this meeting that this item 6, subdivision pre-app for Granite Way is not ready to be presented, so we're not going to be looking at that tonight.
And if I can add a little to that, we're having a spam issue apparently, so anybody, and I've reached out to the applicants here. Somebody is scalping the website to get applicants' information and sending them invoices to pay for short amounts of money, so they were a little concerned, they took it because they signed it with my name and everything, so it's a little odd. So trying to figure out how to stop that, but that spooked them a little bit, they didn't have that much money for it, so they wanted to take a month to figure it out, so.
How much were you asking?
I was, somebody's asking for about $5,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so,
That's a good PSA. I have a client that got nearly ripped off in the tune of like almost 100 times that.
Yeah.
For receiving an invoice that looked legit, was in the same email conversation as the person invoicing them. So
it's,
good PSA.
Yeah.
Don't pay, talk to the person you're paying first. Okay, so any other changes anyone wants to make to the agenda? Hearing nothing. So the first item we do is public comments on non-agenda items. I don't think anyone from the public here has any non-agenda items they'd like to speak on. So hearing none, I'll move on to approving the minutes from last month's meeting, August 21st meeting. Has everybody had a chance, been offered a chance to review those minutes and notice that were changes made to the document? Would like to review the document at all? Bring it up, Orion.
be able to see this.
Yeah.
There a particular page you want me to go to?
Let's go to the beginning, scroll through it.
Ryan, it's not mirrored if that's what you're asking. It's
Yeah,
not up
nothing.
there.
Wow, what is going on?
Thank you.
Even just now.
That was a great-
You're welcome. Set up. Apologies, I'm in school.
There it is.
Okay, keep changes. Okay, let's see what happens.
There you go.
So if it disappears, let me know.
So you're showing the comments, right?
Mhm.
There weren't very many comments. There were some minor syntax adjustments.
I had one comment, just that it was off the town road.
Owner of the road. It's the,
In the line that was given to Tom. So it says, so Laura asked about the last part of the motion regarding road ownership. And that it would be maintained by the owner of the road. It isn't, it's maintained by the owner of the condo.
Oh, but then they own.
association.
And they own, okay, but it didn't, you're right, but it was, I thought.
But I think it's clear the way you said it.
And then it changed a couple.
So do we want to change road to condo? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, condo or whatever.
Is it an
Whatever it's called,
association?
Whatever it is. Order of the whole, order of the. Yes.
One of the road is satisfactory.
That's Tom, he's the one that said it.
Yeah, and that's what he said.
I don't know if, I didn't go back and review the tape to see if that's exactly what I said.
Let's look at the tape.
Yeah. Happy to take whichever, if you guys can agree on it, then,
Condo is good.
okay. Is there another question in here? Maybe not. Maybe that was in the findings of fact. Okay. Um. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as amended?
I move to accept the minutes as amended.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on the minutes? Voting all those in favor that were present, 1, 2, 3, 4. I assume you're abstaining, 4-0-1. Okay, thank you. So the next item is,
Who abstained?
Rob.
Oh, that's right.
Next item is a change of use application for a parcel located at 315 Commercial Street. Tax map 20 block, lot 97, owned by Tanya Holt and Ryan Watts of Seahag Cider.
Hi,
Is that a
everybody.
microphone or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
These owls freak me out.
You can stand there, you can,
I said, is it fine? I'll sit right here.
Chair,
Okay.
whichever.
Hi, I've met some of you before. My name is Ryan Watts. I'm of the Ryan and Tanya. We own 315 Commercial Street in Rockport, and almost 2 years ago, we opened Seahag Cider Company. And our goal was to always grow slow. We did this with a profit we sold a house for, and start a little cider where we ferment hard cider and we have a tasting room. And right now, all of our sales comes from either cider that's sold out of that location. It's all produced right there, but either sold out of location or keg sales around town. Freya's is kind enough to carry us. You can also find us at High Hill in Thomaston, Stone Alley over in Rockland. So we're growing, and have had a pretty good summer. And the intent was always to transform the whole property into, well, the house part, which was originally part bakery, part living space, into entire tasting room. And so now most of that house, the original part, which is kind of like right here, is tasting room, outside of the regular tasting room. And then this is the back where the kitchen originally was. We're trying to rehab slowly into a kitchen back to maybe come back to you and say, maybe we can do food, or come back to the town. And then there are a couple of offices for Seahag in the back. So we've really transitioned to, the goal was to move into the whole property, develop the tasting room, which we have. That all the production of cider has gone into the garage. There's still an apartment above the garage. It's always been there. We were living there for a spell and we just moved out. And so it's become the business. And so we're coming to you to say, we're meeting our goals. We're thrilled we did it in year 2. Now we can accommodate about 48 people comfortably. We've got a great relationship with Doug over across the road. So if we ever have overflow, we have a great relationship with a fellow across the street that owns that property, where we just give him a chat, and he's been really open to us if we ever have overflow parking to park there. So we've had a good time with it. But that really happens. I mean, that parking lot now can fit, you can fill that place just in our parking lot. But as people start to go outside, because we went to the state through the liquor Bablo, they call it now. So now you can be outside, and actually we went to the town too, to expand that drinking space so people can be in the backyard, which is all fenced in. You can see a pretty cool building right here. So people can enjoy cider in the yard and the view of Mount Batty. And yeah, we're pretty excited. If there's any questions about it, I mean, some of you have been in. I recognize some of you all. I would only add that, we really have said, Ryan said to us when we had this dumb idea, I want you to do this and I want you to grow here. And so we're growing here. And that was a challenge that we took seriously, and we really want to keep growing here. We think we're pretty darn big on that property. Right now there's 7 fermenters in the garage, and one is 7 barrels. The rest of them are 3 or 4. We could easily replace those out with 10-barrel systems and replace the whole 7, and that would add a lot of capacity right in that space, without us even changing the size of the garage. So there's a lot of area for growth right there for us. So we're very excited about it. Yeah.
We will have questions, so I just want to open The conversation to the public, if there are any comments from the public on this application. Hearing none, I'll close public comment. Does anyone on the board wish to, even though they're perhaps patrons, I don't think that's a cause for conflict of interest. Hearing none, thank you. So my first question is, this is a change of use from residential,
Oh, thank you.
commercial to just commercial.
Home occupation, I think was the original, because it was like, I think that was written like 50% is gonna be used for you living there, and the other 50 can be occupation, and that's what it was. And then as it transitioned, we were always in communication with Orion and Andy, and it was just like, all right, I think it's time. And so we, came in and got it going. So, yeah. That was originally because, like I said, we had moved to Thomaston, had this harebrained idea, sold the house in Thomaston, bought this property, and that was really the startup. I think that was not the money to put the new roof on the place. And then we bought one 3-barrel tank that sat literally like right here in this little bakery part. And now it's just expanded to, we didn't get to our first winter with that. We had to put another fermenter in just to accommodate like in town. But our sales, not that you've asked this question, about 80% of our sales comes from local. Even this summer, we started to penetrate a little bit more into tourism. I can't wait until they really find us. I think we had one day, 2 weeks ago, where we had 50% of our sales were from out of state, which is really cool for us. We'd really like to see that expand. But at the same time, I think that people who come visit us go, I want to find a local place. And I'm like, you found it. Like everybody comes there, it's local. And I think the locals, particularly in the summertime, kind of like that. Like, oh yes, respite. Like so, they like coming in. So. Yeah.
What's the zone here? 906, 907?
906.
Yeah, so commercial and residential are both permitted. So, but you still have to do a change of use?
So because it was residential with a home occupation. So that's how they got into the place, and then the 1303 applicability, it's that 2B, which is getting cleaned up here pretty soon, but the conversion of a residential building to a commercial use, that's what triggers it, so we had an issue permitting them to do anything further.
Okay.
But it's more of code enforcement, right, ultimately, or no?
So it's gonna be interesting, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe you're gonna change anything on the site, you're not gonna.
No, that's the application. You'll read it and it kind of says, what are you gonna do with the site? How are you gonna change it?
Yeah.
Nothing's changing.
Right.
Everything that was in the garage was there prior, outside of that, I put new plastic sheeting on there so we could ferment in there legally. But there were sinks out there, there was power out there, nothing has changed there. Nothing has changed in the house, like nothing has changed. Since the only thing that I changed since we moved in, it was to move this fence line in so we could put a whole row of cars here. And then it doesn't look like, but you can easily put a whole row of cars here. And that's only been, and we did that since we owned it. And from here on out, nothing that we're going to do. Future goals I'll talk about, but we'd like to be able to offer snacks and look at, we get a lot of questions for having a beer on tap. So those are things that we come back to the appropriate board to do. But for right now, nothing's changing.
Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I was, welcome.
Thank you.
Glad you're here.
Yes.
I have not stopped him, but that will not stop me from stopping it. When I went through this today, I was confused as to why somebody felt there was a need for this to come before the planning. 1303 applicability is reviewed necessary, has 4 criteria, none of which I thought you met. Criteria for making a review necessary.
Yeah.
Okay, construction or expansion of buildings, not doing that. Creation of more than 10,000 square feet of new impervious area, not doing that. Revisions to an existing site plan, seeking an amendment, not doing that. And then any change of use in which the intensity of use as reflected in traffic generated impacts on municipal services, environmental and surrounding neighborhood will differ in a substantial way from that of the preceding use. So substantial is one of those wishy-washy words that everybody gets to figure out for themselves. But I don't think that this is a substantial change.
We hope to be filling the parking lot.
So I think this is an abundance of caution on your part, and Orion's part to bring it before the planning board. But my sole commentary on this is going to hit.
Thank you. And I think Ryan and I have been we've talked a lot over the 2 years we've been doing this, and transparency with the town and wanting us involved and wanting to be part of this has just been a huge part of who we are.
Yep.
So me coming to say hi to you is
It's all good.
So is it, the reason we're talking about it, because you and Andrew thought that it would be best to come before the board to make that determination?
No, the two parts, from a previous meeting, and I forget the exact one, there was a conversation that y'all had on that A and B for number 2.
Yeah.
And the planning board felt that those 2 weren't subsets of number 2. And we have made edits that are on the November ballot. Those now become their own number. But we, instead of 1 through 4, it's 1 through 6.
Not there yet, though.
Not there yet, though. So, if you don't feel that this isn't worth, it doesn't meet the applicability, that's well within your capability of doing, and go to the permitting office and you go through
I
that.
mean, you are living in it right now, and it is a commercial building right now, so that in fact, is.
well, the change is like we are not living there anymore.
So it's no longer home occupation.
Right.
But it's
That's the only thing
basically,
that I.
is a technicality that you just don't live there. Yeah.
Right. So around
I
the
mean, it feels like we live there. Not-
1303B is the
1303 2 B.
two, yeah,
we get the better.
but it's a commercial. Like commercial, it's a commercial use now.
No, it was a residential with home occupation now.
Home occupation.
Okay,
So it's gonna be a commercial building.
That is going to be 100% commercial.
Then we'll take it from there that we need to do a review. Okay?
That's y'all's decision.
Well,
Jeff, I just had one question.
Go ahead, Peter.
Just in terms of, so currently as a resident, it's sort of partially resident, partially commercial, and if it goes to all commercial, does it affect any parking regs?
Well, our police chief, fire chief, and public works director did review this. They didn't find there to be any concerns, so.
But I mean, we don't have any specific, square footage, per commercial isn't 6.2 cars or anything like that. We don't have a regulation like that.
Give me a minute. Our parking is in 800. So if you go to page
I mean, one thing he did
8-4.
mention is potentially if there was an issue in that existing driveway, you said it doesn't look like it, but you probably could have legitimate parking spaces.
So.
I know you said that you have offshoots on the other side.
Usually, like,
803 of the land use ordinance has the table. 803 of the land use ordinance that has the table within it for the uses. So depending on if it's a restaurant, which it is, but.
No. 1 per 4. Yeah.
Not sure.
technically, it's wine production.
So, I mean, I'd like to think of this as if it was the home occupation that was legal, which I
Yeah,
hope that it is.
It was.
A legal home occupation. And if the applicant's saying that like nothing about what they're doing there is changing, other than the fact they don't live there. I would say that, to my mind, does not reach the threshold of needing to be reviewed. It would only be if he were saying that there is a change to this. We're gonna start cooking meals here and we're gonna start doing other things that would not have been covered under the home occupation.
Right.
That would then be a full-fledged commercial change of use. That's just my take on it.
Okay.
Anyone else have takes?
that's kind of how I interpreted this.
Yeah.
That not really changing existing how it's always existed, and therefore,
If he said denied, what does he have to, like, you have to move back in?
Okay, I'd be happy about that, Tanya would not. Tanya would be mad. So please vote, no, I'm just kidding. No, I truly, you will not, from people who've been in there before, there is absolutely no difference. Except my commute home is longer.
I mean, I guess the question is like, this is not like it doesn't really affect this conversation, but at what point, in like someone's expansion process would then it trigger
Well,
us, either us or code enforcement to
Sure.
take another look?
so, you know, in applicability, if they, if there's a change of use in which the intensity used to reflect in the traffic generated, so if they get too big and the traffic is too bad, they're gonna get back before you. If they decide they're gonna do an expansion of 1,000 square feet or more.
Oh,
they're
1,000 square
before
feet,
you.
okay.
But
But would that include, sorry to interrupt, would that include taking that what was it, residential space in this structure and turning it into commercial use? Or that's expanding new, okay, yes, I don't think it applies necessarily.
And this property's been, as you know, been commercially used for, I mean, as a home occupation probably. I don't know what the other licenses were in the past. But as a bottle redemption place, as a cafe, as a bakery, as a lot of things.
our recollection was they were all home occupations.
Anyway, yeah, I never looked into it, so.
Because when, you know, first came in, the previous code officer,
That's right.
Scott, we
Yeah.
really went back and forth on if it needs to come before you or if it can go as a home occupation, so.
But was this Three Dogs?
Yeah.
Cafe?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
Like I said, I think he had a bottle redemption place there, and then it was a bakery.
There's bakery.
Tom, you have thoughts?
I see those as permitted uses, and I don't see that there's a major change in intensity of use. So, yeah, I had the same question as Jan, like, why are we doing this?
Yeah. We had no comments from the public, is that correct?
No comments from the public, about our letters from out, and no
Yeah.
one
Okay.
submitted anything.
I don't know, did Three Dog have outside seating?
Originally, I'm told,
yes.
could have been a brag. There was an enormous deck out front with a
Yeah.
bunch of,
Yes.
seating.
They've never sat there many times.
And I would love that, I love that idea, and I'd come back, we've been to the town where we want to do the expansion out back to allow. I love that idea eventually, that's an
The
available.
deck
cash.
turned out to be in the wrong place. The deck was not on that, didn't meet the setback.
And it's loud, to be honest, if you're on that
Yes.
side of the house,
Sure.
it's a lot, the traffic's loud.
So, and what, if you go and expand that use in the rest of the property, what do you have for butters? Are there residential properties or?
This line's really tight. I think my understanding is that Steve used to own this property and that property and this one, but, this is really tight. This. Any expansion, not that this is the conversation, but today, but like.
That would be my only concern.
Our heart of hearts goal is to think of ideas like, because again, related to the challenge, you know, like stay here, grow here. Is like if we could, expand the garage into this way back into the property. So we could add either more fermenters or office space. And then if for some reason, another idea of kicking around is if somehow we could come up with a parking issue, because there's a lot more land here. Originally, I was like, what if we took some spot right here, remembering the setback, but think parking? But we had a really successful wedding reception that tent was right here. And so we're now rethinking ever even thinking about that, because we'd like to be an event space. And that had 100-person tent right here. It worked, it was gorgeous. So I kind of don't want to change that now, because that worked out great.
That would be one of my concerns, Jeff, is parking, and even to hear about the agreement you have with the property across the street. I mean, you'd be encouraging pedestrian traffic crossing commercial street.
Yeah, we've never done it.
Are you saying across the commercial street, like Blue Creek? Group?
No, I'm just saying like, cause we didn't, we had it, no, mostly it all happens, this is, Doug's been the big stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
so it's not even across the street.
And,
I thought you were talking about.
I will, no, but like, cause we're trying to be really, really transparent. So we chatted with the guy who owns this property
That's the one I thought.
and said, and I did say that, and I said, what if? And he said, you know, I appreciate you even giving me a call. Nobody called, you know, I got them to let me, but I was like, thanks, you know, just thanks for, you know, like, you know, just thanks for that openness. And if we ever need something like that, we've never needed anything like that, but we're trying to be good neighbors. I go to, if we have live music all summer long, I go to see Bill, who owns this house right here, and I said, listen, there's gonna be live music. You're okay with that? Come over and enjoy it, you know, like, so we're just trying to be good neighbors. So we try to talk to everybody around us. We haven't needed any of those things yet, but
Any other comments on this from the board? Sounds like we have unanimity that this does not reach the threshold for review as a complete change of use that require a site plan review. So I'm trying to think about how we would frame a motion for this because we're not moving to approve the application for change of use. So Ryan, is this an application that is like a technical change of use application? So then we would have to then approve that, but then somehow not.
No,
subject it to
you could say that it doesn't,
the review.
that it's not, it doesn't meet the applicability section of land use ordinance for
Okay.
a site plan or for a change of use review.
Okay,
That's enough for the code enforcement officer to move forward with permitting.
okay. Would anyone like to make such a motion?
I'll move that the situation for CEX cider does not reach the threshold of applicability. We does not require a full site plan review.
Second. Here, any further discussion?
I would just say, if you did have significant intensity of use issues, that might be a signal that you need to revisit with the
Yeah.
planning board.
yeah, and I would say that like, I mean, just to, and I'm not blowing smoke, like Andy is like, he's been really great with us to say, you know, let's do, like, we talk to him, he talks to us, and he said, you know, hey, I'm dealing the last 3 weeks. He's, you know, he lives nearby, he's been a few times, he's got a beat on it, he's given us feedback, like
Such things could be like parking, could be
Yeah.
under that. Some of this hours of operation
Mhm.
could trigger that.
Okay.
The degree of attendance that you have.
Yeah.
Expansion in that, those things, or introducing like a full-scale restaurant
Yes.
Yeah,
thing.
right now, we're trying to stay within our license with agriculture and the wine in Bablo, in terms of snacks, food, whatever's in the building, because for us, that's, we're looking to start small, and, when at the town level, things are very affordable. At the state level, things get unaffordable real quick in terms of permitting, so it behooves us to work within the parameters we're in, until it really is loud that we need to go different, and then, of course, we.
Okay, we have a vote. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 0. Thanks.
Thank you guys for listening to me. Come in, you're welcome anytime.
Drinks on you.
Yeah. I will say that I just want to like, it's not a bribe. I say this to everyone in the community. They've heard me say 1,000 times. If you have a community use for this space, I know that the people at the Rotary can tell you this. We love to give back. So if you ever need the space, come and see it.
Thank you very much. If this place was closed, we might have gone.
Yeah, good one.
Get a TV. Actually, I got a projector, I just need a wall.
I got a TV. That's very funny.
All right, so it's 6:02 PM. Let's look at the next item on our agenda, which is site plan revision for MRC. Tax map 25, lot 101 and 101-100, represented by Andrew Hedrich and Gartley Dorsky. This is for a revision to a previously approved site plan review. It's currently under construction.
Yes, correct. My name is Andrew Hedrick. I'm an engineer over at Gartley and Dorsky. Rick Bresnahan is here as a representative from MRC. Back in March of 2025, we obtained site plan review to do an amendment to the existing development up there at MRC, which included building a new building with indoor tennis courts and pickleball courts and building some exterior tennis courts. It's come to our attention what we had originally proposed for lighting was kind of a low light, and we're going to put them around the corners. But after getting into this and looking at what the requirements were for a tennis court, they demand much brighter intensity, much higher lights. So we have two options. One, to put in larger lights, about 40 feet tall, or put in a bunch of multiple lights along the sides of the courts. We prefer not to have light poles in amongst all the court areas. So we're proposing to put the 40-foot lights just at the corners of the facility here. So we're proposing 40-foot lights here, one there, one there, one there, one there, right in all four corners. To put a pole height taller than 25 feet, we require a waiver from the town to authorize us to do that. I provided a waiver request in here, an official that has a lot more information, but in summary, it's just that, just trying to get official light for those tennis courts and trying to isolate it to just 4 locations in the corners there. We provided a photometric plan from the electrical designer, which shows the lights controlled and contained. It basically, photometric plan just identifies the hotness of the light, if you will, how bright it is. And you can kind of see quickly, as soon as you get beyond the tennis court areas, the light diminishes. It's not an intrusion on any of the adjacent properties. All the light fixtures will be dark, they're shielded, and they're dark sky fixtures, so it means they're controlled, so you can't see the light bulb. Everything's gonna be pointed down, so we're not spraying it all through the lights. You're not gonna see a light up above or anything like that. The trees along the backdrop there, along the existing tennis courts now, because this site's all been cleared, we can kind of see the tree line now. They all far exceed 40 feet, so you're not even gonna see the light pole, protruding down on Route 90 there. So it's pretty straightforward. We've included all the information, and I'd love to kind of answer any questions you may have that haven't explained or get into more detail that's in our packet.
First, this will be brief. Any comments from the public? Hearing none, moving on. Questions from the board?
Yeah, I was a little surprised when I saw this, so I started doing some research just today, when I started looking at this. The United States Tennis Association asked for 40-foot light poles for professional courts. And for regular courts and everybody else, 25 feet seems to be their standard. They think it's just fine. I'm curious as to why you want to go to a level that would possibly sound like you were trying to have professional tennis come to Rockport, along with associated crowds and so forth. Why you need 40-foot poles.
Yeah, I would love.
I'm not done.
No, sorry.
I'm very concerned about dark sky. I'm very concerned about natural resources. I sit on the task force for implementing the comprehensive plan. We don't address it there, but I think that we ought to. And so I'm really curious. I don't see any need other than to qualify for high-level professional tennis, which requires lighting bright enough for high-definition televising. I don't understand what you're doing when the US Tennis Association thinks that 25-foot poles are just fine. Please explain it.
Yeah, I'd love to have Rick respond directly.
So we're applying for a grant from the USTA, and in order to meet their specifications, we need the 40-foot poles.
What is the grant for? From a yes.
Money to build the courts.
I see.
So if they're that, I would say summary wise that USTA, if you are going to take their money and try to invest it in the area, they want the top of the line opportunities for people, and part of the application is, what types of programs are you using, developing to include the, children in the area, or develop tennis programs in the area. So this all came about because of the application for USTA.
You have about a 400-page manual and you have to follow everything in that. And one of them is making sure these light poles are there.
It's just that when I looked it up at USTA today and had an AI search done, USTA comes back with 25-foot poles are okay for most places. And everything is fine with them, and that 40-foot is required
So
only for top line professional. There was no reference in here as to grant money or anything, so I didn't know what your motivation was.
That's our motivation.
Okay, that's
Not my motivation, but it is the motivation.
some of the other pieces to this is we could potentially get away with a 25 or a shorter pole in these locations, but those are associated with each of the courts. So we're proposing to kind of light all 4 courts with 4 lights rather than run the 25 footers in between each of these courts. So you can run a shorter light pole to get enough light cast, but you basically have to put about 6 light poles for each of these courts. So you'd have to backload the lights. We'd have lights running down between each of those, and we'd have to expand that tennis court area a little bit to accommodate that, make sure we have barriers around them so people aren't bumping into them. So there is an option for a shorter pole. We thought it was the most economical and most efficient, and we wouldn't have to modify and expand further into any of these wetlands by keeping it compact, putting the 4 poles at the corners and extending the pole height a little bit.
So you're saying, Andrew, that there is an option for using the 25-foot poles. It comes at the expense of more building within the wetlands, which you can do by permit.
Correct.
So you could do it. It's just gonna come at an expense of taking over more.
It's gonna be an expense to the development, it's gonna be an expense to the wetland impacts, exactly, and cost. Yep, so there's the balance of trying to fit all those pieces together, and trying to get that to work in there. So yes.
So you could do it by right, but you'd have to go back to the drawing board, which is gonna cost the project money. They'd have to make adjustments to what's already been done, which might cost the project money. It's going to further intrude into the wetlands, which is going to cost the project money because it's gonna be bigger.
Right, and they would have the ability to deny that.
Yes.
So we could run into denial from the permitting
Or approve it.
agencies.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would be interested in what the seasonality is, the plan for keeping these open, because if they're outdoor tennis courts, you're not gonna be playing in the winter time.
Right.
So that would be a question for MRC. And also hours of operation. I'm not sure exactly when MRC closes down during the summer, but how much use are these lights going to get actually?
I think that's a good question. It's like it'd be like the pickleball course, how much use are they gonna get? You have to develop the programs, once you have it. So it's like, if it's available, who's gonna develop it, and how many people are gonna be interested in playing tennis from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, say? I think in the long run, it's going to be beneficial in that as temperatures warm up, as the days become hotter, there might be a greater draw to play later at night, between 6 and 9. But I don't think that there's gonna be much action after 9 o'clock at night. And so and realistically, June, July, August, it's not gonna be a lot of use of them, believe me. However, we've spent 8 months on this application to try to get money to cover this tennis court, which people want to have lights on. And so I'm not going to argue for or against the hours, how much operation, how many people are gonna play. This is a requirement if we want to continue the application that people on the committee wanted to apply for and try to get.
Has any discussion occurred with USTA perhaps for a waiver?
No waiver,
No waivers.
no waivers. we've been going back and forth with them for a long time. You know, all the way down to the size of the fencing for balls to go through, windscreens, things like that.
How easy is it to, these days? I know, back in the day, you have to turn the lights on and let them get hot, and it was a whole process before they were bright enough to actually be able to play.
Those things are going.
Right. So does that make it easier for you guys to? I guess you don't know if you're gonna have a set time, like 6 to 9, the lights are on, or, that's a conversation.
It would be what the demand is.
Okay,
You know, the goal would be, I'm sure, to run a program. It's like we do with pickleball now, there's not enough court time, so you then go from 8 to 9 or
Right.
7 to 9 on a Friday night. So if people want to play tennis and you have the pros pushing programs and teams, then 6 to 9 would be a good opportunity.
yeah, I mean, I'm not, I guess, fundamentally opposed to the higher lights. I just think it would be good to, now that it's easier to control, turning them on and off, basically, to have some type of system where if they're not needed, to just turn them off.
So there would be a switch that if you're gonna play, they're gonna go on.
Oh,
If
So an
they're not
individual could
playing,
do it.
they're not
Okay.
going on.
okay. So that's easier. Yeah, I'm used to like
No, but
Yeah.
Set them, you kind of let them run.
the
Yeah.
custodian turns
Yeah.
them off.
Well, everything's LED, everything's a flick of a switch now, and,
Okay.
yeah, there's quite a bit of controls, they can set them on timers, they can do a lot of things with the lighting controls.
Gotcha, okay, cool.
Go ahead.
On my little screen, I can't read the brochure from the company.
Yes,
Lumens are something that I'm extremely comfortable with. This is my educational background is light. I would like to see a copy, get a copy of the brochure that the company puts out, because when I look at the lumen generation and I look at the size of the throw from a 50-foot pole, but granted you're doing a 40-foot pole, it shows 50-foot poles in the ads. It's quite a large spread. It's 180 feet across. And so is it possible I could go over to the office and sit down with that?
So what's in here?
yeah, there's 11 by 17 in these packets, I have one here.
Okay,
So the real information is actually from the electrical engineer.
I understand where it's from.
Yep, so don't look at the sheet, the manufacturer's sheet, because they provide kind of guidance and they give you that information to put into the photometric plan. And the photometric plan was generated from the electrical engineer. They actually put it up on the right height, they put them in the right location, and they generate the lighting intensity.
And who is the engineer that you?
Bennett Engineering.
They are where?
They are down in the Bath area.
Okay.
Yeah, Bath, Brunswick. Yep.
Hey, Jan, trim me.
Hmm?
Trim me that. Thank you.
Probably got a chance to look at it. Look at it. It's the museum.
Yeah, it's the site plan. Elements.
Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'm assuming this request triggers another abutter notification, so the abutters have been notified, and Orion, no responses.
No responses.
So this diagram
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's,
is showing the cutoff.
yep, that's exactly it. That blue, once we get into that blue area, that's where the cutoff is gonna be.
And
Yep.
really what our ordinance said, that blue area has to happen at least at the
Property
property.
line, correct.
So this.
Which is a
this
couple
area
hundred feet away.
It's quite a ways from property.
Yes, oh, yes, yep.
Okay.
So you can see it won't even partially get down the
Property
road.
line's barely even shown on this drawing.
Yeah, this is one here, and then the Route 90 is over 150 feet away, 200 feet away, yeah.
Okay.
So we're well within the woods, we're well contained, and all the adjacent trees there are gonna further screen these lights anyways, the actual fixtures themselves.
Well, it'll be summertime, so they will be.
Yeah. Exactly, right, yep.
I mean, I'm taking a close reading of our ordinance regard to lighting. And it does say the freestanding lighting fixtures, except for street lights, shall not extend beyond a height of 25 feet as measured from ground level. And it doesn't really color that as to why.
Right.
Is it about the mast itself? Is it about the height of the fixture and perhaps the light from those fixtures spilling out into places where it doesn't belong? But it does cover that by saying it shouldn't extend beyond the property line. So it doesn't quite make sense. Jan, you had a particular concern about that in terms of dark sky.
Yes.
Andrews told us that they're dark sky compliant is a type of light.
Yes, it's, the top is over. Basically,
Right.
that's what a dark sky shielded is that there's a shield over the light bulb.
Right.
So it can't shine up, and it always shines down, and that the bulb isn't exposed, below that shield. It all kind of is directed and kind of pointed exactly where it wants to go.
Right, so the photons of the light are actually
Are
all
very precisely directed, especially these type of lights.
And then they bounce.
Yes, yeah, they do,
They
they
bounce
do,
off other
yep, they
things.
do.
And then they bounce.
Our ordinance allows up to 2.5% above the plane of the light and up to 10% at 80 degrees. So what you're saying is that horizontal plane of the light would be 100%.
Yes, yes, yep, yep,
Okay, as long as they're aimed in the proper location.
right,
Okay,
yep.
so that's part of this.
And of course, that's the intent. These are pretty sophisticated lights. They're very precise. I mean, that's why we're here, to make sure we meet all these special, tennis standards.
Yeah.
So they're very precise. They'll be very precisely aimed. The professionals are gonna handle this. This isn't gonna be somebody putting up a street light and changing some things. These are very controlled lights, and they need to do what they're intended to do.
So I'm trying to find where there might be, as I said, color that the ordinance then says, like, gives us clues as to why that 25-foot height limit exists. And I understand your concern of like the illuminating the sky is not a good thing from migratory patterns of birds.
Well,
And
it's not just illuminating the sky, it's a bunch of.
it's a bunch of things. But I can't find any other way to interpret it that like. the
No, it's not,
concern-
no, there's nothing, I looked through, there's nothing in the ordinance
Okay.
at the moment, yeah.
Okay.
It just is.
What other concern might we have from like a town-wide standpoint of taller than allowed masts with lights on them?
Well, I was concerned about the height of the trees, but you said, you
Yeah,
told me about
yeah,
that, so.
yeah. Yeah, those are 60, 80-foot tall trees there. They're well above telephone poles. They're all that height. I mean, that's, a telephone pole ranges anywhere from 50 to 60 feet, depending on where we're at. And these are shorter than these standard telephone poles, so.
Well, the telephone poles don't have lights out.
No, they certainly don't. They certainly don't.
Yeah.
Well, some of them do.
But no, I'm
But not this type of
relieved to hear that the trees are taller. but
Yeah,
No conception of the
Yeah.
property.
yeah. No, the trees are up there. They will screen it. They will shield it. I think the height restriction is just that, because if you're, depending on where you are, we're in a commercial area. If you
Yeah.
put a light that's 30 feet high, you're gonna be able to kind of see it from all angles. This site is very protected, and literally in its own place. It was forced to be 200+ feet back from the road when this was originally developed. So everything is back off Route 90. None of the abutters are close to this. Nobody on the private properties are gonna see these lights unless they come up into the development.
If you had a big box store and it had a large field of parking and with a mass mounted fixtures, how tall might those be? More than 25?
Yes, yeah. If you get into a park lot, those are, yeah, they're trying to control
Yeah.
how big and how large those parking lots would be yeah.
You know, a strange thought. You can't do anything but say, nuts, what? Should MRC decide at some time in the future that in the winter months, where the tennis courts are would be a terrific location for an ice rink. And that you could have skating all night long, all winter long. Would that require a trip back to the planning board? I don't know. I'm glad you're laughing.
We already have a skating rink.
Ah,
It's inside.
Inside.
That's what
We
this
don't need to
facility
go
does,
outside.
yeah.
all right then.
Interesting night for that. Okay,
The pickleball courts don't need the lights, or they have different lights.
They're inside, it's interior.
Oh, they're
Yep.
inside.
So this is a large building that's actually all constructed now, the exterior is,
Okay.
but those are all interior, you can't tell from this, right?
Yeah. Peter, any concern? No. Okay. Dan, back to you.
No, my issues are my issues. I'm going to abstain on the vote. I'm not voting against it or for it because I have personal conflicts of interest. I mean, just emotionally at this moment. So I'm just
Okay.
not going to, I'm not going to vote one way or the other. I do want to do more looking at things.
Okay, I guess what we're looking for then, it sounds like there's no other concerns, is a motion to approve the revision to the site plan application for what we're calling MRC. So moved. Thank you, Peter. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Rob. Any further discussion?
I'm just trying to think this through, cause it's a waiver.
I was gonna say technically the waiver should be reviewed and approved first. Yeah, and then you can approve that with the condition of the approved waiver.
I agree with that.
Okay,
So, but I was,
We have a vacancy.
I'm a Rockport resident too.
What's the timeline that this has to be?
Approved
Yeah.
the grant, it's undergoing right now. I know they need to move forward with this, that's why we're here. The lights aren't gonna be put in until next year anyways, so nothing's going in this year. The lights are already kinda too late in the season to play with those.
Okay, but if you get a grant approval based on
Right,
acceptance of this requirement.
yes, and there'll be a timeline when you have to spend that. Yep. I don't know the time. Do you know how long they give you on the grant if you're approved of it?
The year.
A year. There we go. Yep. So we'd have a year to put the lights in.
okay, then I'm going to offer a suggestion for a motion, if anyone wants to make it, is that the board approves a waiver for the lighting requirement under section 801.7.4.c.
Sure. You have to withdraw the motion first.
I can keep it on the table,
Okay.
because we're going to get to that again. So I don't need to really withdraw it. I can make two motions at once and then just do them in reverse. But thank you for pointing that out. I thought of that. So that's my suggestion for a motion. And I would like to.
So moved.
Thank you, Peter.
Second. So the other one's still open, but hasn't been voted on,
That's
correct?
right. That's right. Any further discussion on Peter's second motion on the waiver? Okay, all those in favor of the motion on the waiver? 1, 2, 3. All those opposed? All those abstaining? 301. Thank you. And the first motion that Peter made
is it
is
301 or 40?
3, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, 4-0. I did vote, right? And then vote for any further discussion on the first motion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the first motion to approve the revision? 1, 2, 3, 4. Against, abstain, 4-0. That work for you,
Good
right?
motion, the final and there's second.
Same people, Peter and Rob.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Sweet. Bring a couple of those if you need them for signatures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get price, right?
Yeah.
Once for the waiver, once.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is for reviewing the findings and facts of concluding with the law for the subdivision review.
Very proud.
Sure is. Yeah.
Subdivision known as Compass Point.
That was one long findings of fact.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So bringing it back to why these are so long. In a previous appeal that were nameless, we always had attorneys asking for stuff. Well, here it is. This is everything. I don't have to spend any time on it. This is it. Anybody wants to appeal it, it's real simple. Here's everything. We don't have to spend any time wasting any time on anything. Is anybody gonna appeal this? Not likely, but it's all packaged up. So every planning board application, this is how they are. And this is the first subdivision in a while, like major subdivision that we reviewed, so it's a lot of content that was reviewed. So,
I guess we always go back and forth on this. If like all these things are tapes recorded in the public record, why is this part of
this is
the?
a court requirement, so if it were to go to court, something of this nature would need to be in writing. They're not gonna spend the time watching this for whatever reason, I couldn't tell you any more than that. That was the big hiccup with the last big appeal. It was like, what's it recorded? They wouldn't entertain it. But as soon as you wrote it down, then I'm like, okay, this is how we do this.
I guess I'm wondering, like, does it, make more sense for you to just run that through a transcription software and that's our findings of facts, or
No.
you can't do that?
No, you can do that. And for the most part, so right now, this device here is transcribing. So we take that, we edit it in-house, which is a lot easier than typing it up.
Yeah.
And then, that then creates the minutes that you all get, and then that then creates the findings of fact. So it, in a way, is being done, but there's like some formalities that are being done in it. And then,
You're actually transcribing from the tape?
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
man,
getting there.
of a sort.
Well, there's a lot of shorthand people out there
Yeah.
on unemployment lines at the moment, so this is a matter of opinion.
I work, with the electronic medical record software at Penn Bay and Waldo, and they're beta testing and some are implementing the AI software. So you go in and speak to your doctor and you tell them all the anecdotal information about their wife's cooking and about, who they saw in the supermarket. All that's extracted out.
Yep.
And what goes in the progress note is purely. So maybe we'll have it for the planning board someday. So,
Do you know how long to leave it in the oven? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it is long, and I think that there were some, I think I made some edits that were of the sort of, it needed a proper noun here and there, or it just was like, he said, but then you previously talked about a few people, so it's like, which one was the he in that case, like, just put the person's name in there. Or the project, and it's like, you have to repeat what the project is, because otherwise, yeah. I didn't have any substantive changes though.
Okay.
I didn't rewatch the tape.
No, I didn't,
Yeah,
no, there were no such.
I almost wanna say I'm never going to rewatch the tape. I shouldn't have to rewatch the tape, damn it.
I did have one question. And that was about utilities available on site.
Mhm.
And it said, there was not going to be any impact on existing water supply.
If it's being.
If there is.
I eliminated your question, Tom, after you put it
Or
there.
did you?
It was like, this was just cribbed from the ordinance, I think. It was just like the line in the ordinance that you have to satisfy, and then the next line was.
Yeah.
The board determined that it meets the requirement.
Yeah.
Okay,
So if there is one, no, it wasn't from the discussion, it was from the ordinance.
I figured that
Yeah.
later on, but it's still reading it.
Right,
didn't make
I got
sense.
rid of the, if there is one part, because it's like, no,
Okay.
that makes it unclear.
We're good. It wasn't a big deal.
No, I agreed with your confusion. It's like, that shouldn't be written that way.
There just needs to be a faster way to go through these findings.
Yeah.
That's the whole problem. Gotta come up with a sensible way. You know, like everybody swears that they read it. And then you
Word for word.
yeah. Gentlemen's agreement.
Actually, if you were to go to sleep at night and have it read to you,
Yeah.
It would be simple.
Okay, were there any other changes to discuss in this? I suggest a motion to approve the findings and facts and conclusions of law for the subdivision review referred to as Compass Point subdivision as amended.
so moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. All those opposed, all those abstaining? Thank you. 4-0-1. Okay. Comprehensive plan is a recurring item to keep in there. I think we mentioned the last time that John being in the audience here, Jan, myself, are on the comprehensive plan implementation committee. We've met once officially, I think, and we'll be putting together,
Tomorrow is the
like
second.
tomorrow, we're meeting the second time. We'll be putting together, eventually a tasks, I guess. I don't know how to put this, but, action items for various groups, staff in town and other ways of implementing the comprehensive plan. So,
And tracking the implementation.
and tracking how it's being done and if it's succeeding. So this group is going to start hearing things from that committee, I think through Orion, even though we're on the committee, that we could speak to it. But I don't know how it gets to us, but I assume it comes through the staff, the town office to go out.
Are you talking like work to be done?
Yeah.
Things
I
that go.
think there needs to be some, I think they're gonna be making that group that you're on, I think it's gonna be making a recommendation to the select board that these need to be done.
There you go.
They're
Yeah,
gonna say, yeah.
Yeah.
And then at that point, I don't know how it goes on from there.
Yeah.
Either the select board liaison says, hey, this is it, or it just gets memoed to the chairs,
yes,
so.
right. So look for that coming. Again, I'll repeat what I said last time, which is for us to keep familiarizing ourselves with the comprehensive plan. It is sort of the spirit document of the town.
Jeff,
Yeah, go ahead, John.
I just jump in. One of the first jobs we're doing as a task force is we're trying to take essentially all the goals that are expressed in the comprehensive plan and put them on a separate worksheet and cluster them by category. So as opposed to looking at the 270 page, is it 270 page? Comp plan and trying to wade through all that, we should be able to get it down to, you know, 5, maybe 4 or 5 Excel pages.
When I went to print out the existing
How
Excel
many?
file, it was 75 pages.
No, the matrix should, no, well.
Yeah.
You might want to adjust your printer setting. Let me say that. But anyway.
Didn't seem like it could be.
Printing out
Well,
postcards.
there's a lot of ways you can manipulate an Excel spreadsheet to get it on.
Anyway,
page.
I don't know Excel. I don't
Anyway,
know.
the idea is to try to get the goals expressed in just a simple couple statements. Show what we recommend. Well, first of all, the comp plan recommends a timeline, and then the task force is gonna try to put a finer point on the timelines. So that instead of 0 to 5 years, it's like in the next 12 months, in the next 24 months, in the next, something like that.
Almost like a Gantt chart in a way.
It is again.
Like a
Well, a Gantt chart.
It's exactly
like
right.
Construction Gantt
Yeah.
chart.
Basically with overlapping. So we could probably even explore doing a format like that, but right now we're just trying to work with the language as it exists in the comp plan. And what will probably surface very quickly is we'll start seeing some of the gaps. Like, well, if you're gonna have a goal for adding whatever it is, 50 housing units per year by 2030. Yeah, you have to better be thinking of this, and this. So there's a lot of places where we might have a housing goal, but that means we've got to work on some parts of the ordinance. And the ordinance will come back to the ordinance work will probably be coming back to the planning board. In that, in areas like that and areas like, trying to encourage some aspects of economic development. May come back before the planning board for a conversation to get your input. So, there's a lot of moving parts to it, and we really haven't even barely scratched, the surface on it. So-
Yeah, I did a web of relationships. Between
What?
a web of relationships, lines that connect all the goals with all the stakeholders. Who's responsible, who will have input into what. It's very complicated, but everything, as we said, every goal affects several different departments.
Well, it's a huge matrix is
Yeah.
what it is. And that's the problem initially for the task force is to try and pull it out of like that's just too big of a,
Well, you need to make it workable.
yeah, we gotta make it more workable. So initially, we're just gonna try and essentially streamline what we're looking at. And then start divvying it up in chunks or looking at it in pieces. Cause there's, I think, how many in there, Ryan, is 155?
Everybody counts differently every,
And how many?
in the 150 neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So right now, we've narrowed it down to 155 goals.
Yeah.
So, and some of them are redundant and that sort of thing, so, so anyway, I just wanna chime in a little bit on it that, one of the things that back in the day, I'll do that. I'll put that hat on for once. When I was on the planning board, that I was always a little bit tweaked that the planning board didn't have more of a say in ordinances. And it was pretty much all delegated out to the ordinance review committee. And then we now have a full-time planning and development director. And so with the evolution of that position and some other changes, we've now given the planning board much more significant say in the ordinances. And, you know, if there's gonna be an ordinance change, you're gonna see it. And it's gonna probably be crafted by Orion initially and then brought to you guys for, tweak. That never happened before. So that's a recent history kind of thing. So it's putting a little more work on your shoulders, but I think that's the shoulders it should be on. Cause, as every month you're working with the ordinance and living and breathing it. So I think that's pretty much my spiel.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important that you said, bring it to the committees for their comment and feedback, that the comprehensive plan implementation task force has like kind of broad ability to make recommendations through the select board and staff, but they can't really change anything. Like, they can't make any changes to anything in the town, just so the comp plan doesn't make any changes on its own either.
Right.
So it's up to the various committees like this one to agree with what's being suggested, disagree, come back with comments, whatever, and then make the changes. It's like,
And the comp plan committee was operating for 5 years to craft this document, so.
Yeah.
People came and went and, so what's looking at is, we're gonna have a lot of questions tomorrow morning, just starting the conversation off a little bit of what was the thinking behind this? And hopefully somebody will have the institutional memory. But that's a problem when you drag out a process like the way the comp plan did. It's that, some of those initial thoughts are lost.
We're the interpreters of that document now.
Where are the interpreters?
We
We
are,
are.
we are the interpreters of that.
Yes.
This is not a place for originalists. This is a place for contemporary.
Jan, do you mind specifying the we?
I mean, the task force.
Well, the task
Well,
force,
eventually the select board.
I just mean because you're up there right now.
Oh,
So
no,
that's being
Yeah.
recorded.
not this week.
I know.
That week, the other week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tomorrow's week,
Yeah.
not today's.
Yeah.
John, speaking of which, we're here because there's an electrical
Yeah,
problem.
I'm waiting on an update from
Okay.
Browns.
I just wondering where our meeting.
Y'all want me a notification on if there's a meeting?
Thank you very much.
Should change.
yeah, it'll probably end up here if we don't, or we go to CA.
Wake them up.
Well, but it's 5:30 somewhere.
No, tomorrow's meeting is at 10.
I know, but what I'm saying is maybe a 10:30 meeting, but it's 5:30 somewhere. in
But
there.
there's some,
Oh, that's, oh, yes, okay, sure. What is that?
just moving on. Other business yearly training workshop 2 schedule.
Yeah, well, we need to start thinking about that, because it's a requirement that y'all have a yearly, schedule. Or a yearly training now, 229, LD 229 is requiring planning boards to have a yearly training workshop, so. they can
That's
be
just,
done in a
that's
few
a new
different ways.
requirement.
It's a requirement. It can be done in a few ways. I'm gonna recommend that we use our legal services, so Bernstein Sure, to provide those if they can. If they can't, they can provide me with the information. We can sit down and do a workshop and it can check those boxes.
The thing that I just signed up for,
Yeah.
Yeah, qualify for that?
You don't know what qualifies, they just say you got to do a training, I don't know, I think we should tailor it to kind of what we want, like the direction we're going in, tailor it a little bit to that, so we can grow a little bit.
Well,
Because
but, yes,
MMA, which Jan signed up for, an MMA,
yeah,
planning board workshop, which you are all able to do, if you see a planning board workshop from Maine Municipal Associations.
I was
One
gonna
in
ask
ten.
about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot me an email, I'll sign you up and you'll get your information, like Jan did.
Yeah.
Do you know what Maine Municipal Association is, Peter?
I mean,
Do you know what Maine Municipal Association is? Oh, okay, just checking. So if you're interested in that, let me know, I can sign you up. But they're gonna do the general basis of Maine law. And it's not gonna be, it'll be applicable to the town, but it's not tailored to the town. So,
So you don't think we should all be trying for some consistency and having the same presentation for the board? Or are we going to every man for himself?
no, I want consistency. I'm saying it is still available to you if you want to go. But I would like us to, work with our team of attorneys, getting a presentation together, a workshop together, and, tailoring that, rock report. So, that's it. And that's not something to decide right now, but, I think I'll probably, Jeff, just kind of keep this on the agenda until we are comfortable with something, and I can talk to our attorney, figure it out.
How much notice they need? I mean, I think it'd be great to put this in our monthly meeting where we didn't have many other items to go over.
That much notice, just who need their
Or
turn.
just need sure,
Oh,
because you get 2 weeks notice based on applications.
for them to put together a workshop,
Yeah,
for them to put together a workshop.
to know what the date is.
Oh, yeah.
So if
right.
you were to say like 2 weeks prior to our meeting
Mhm.
on a month,
Yeah.
say, we don't have many applications to review, it's gonna be a light month.
oh, yeah.
That would be a time to do a workshop.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that could work.
Yeah.
But I'll reach out to them just to let them know that we're kind of gearing up to do some workshops, would love to have
Yeah.
them with them. And just see where that conversation goes, see if we can plug them in that kind of manner.
Painter, is that gonna cost us a lot of money?
No, it's not gonna cost us any more money. We don't use them enough, the planning board, which is good.
Isn't good.
I somewhere down, along the lines, downloaded maybe this association's manual for local planning boards, a legal perspective.
Yes.
Which is like 457 pages. I said, very long. That was the first time I've opened it up.
And
Find
a
out
chunk
something
of that is finding.
Oh, no, that's great. That's a great document.
So,
It's a good
is it? Yep,
It is.
okay. That's my table, reading.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
I know, because it has case law in it and it's
Oh,
like,
okay.
here's where this is coming to play.
Okay.
This is what shaped the discussion.
Sorry.
The MMA manual for local planning boards.
Yeah.
It's
So
called the
maybe-
manual.
maybe-
MMA.
Manual from local planning boards, a legal perspective.
What
It's
year?
actually in our,
Mine is 2017.
Yeah.
revised.
I think that is the newest one, but.
I didn't get that long
SharePoint
ago.
under references or something.
So in SharePoint, the latest version is uploaded and there's a couple of items in it that are outdated. but-
Yes,
So just keep that in mind. If you see something you're like, that doesn't sound right, it's probably outdated, so just.
right.
bear with it.
There's some pandemic change things there. One more item, which is we're still looking for one full-time member and 2 alternate members of this board. If you have any friends, neighbors, Patriots.
Right now, Jeff, or no?
we don't.
No.
This is it. Plus Sam.
Oh, Sam.
Yeah.
He just happened to have a conflict today. So that's it. Is there a motion to adjourn?
We adjourn.
Thanks, Jan. Second?
Second.
Okay, Peter, all those in favor? 5-0, thank you, and it is 6:47.
Hold on a minute.
This for election is fabulous.
Well, yeah, I didn't think that those weren't full applications, so.
Yeah.
Had they been, it would have been more,